I forgot my mic because it was the new jacket. So new jacket, forgot the mic. This episode is just gonna be quiet. It is what it is. Well, unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, that's kind of it. No mic, because usually the mic's in the jacket, but I wore a different jacket, so the mic is not here. So basically, this video is just going to be super quiet. It is what it is. No mic. It is what it is. No mic.
What's good, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back. So I know today I forgot the mic in the Earthlog, so today we're going to be doing this. We'll continue the story. So, what is the story? My face comes in the way. It is 3 true abandoned stories. There we go. Look at that. Rightio, so we're on story 2. Now we're going to go story 2 and then story 3. Yep. Alright, let's go. Let's have a look, shall we? Oh, by the way, went to the dentist today. Teeth white, I guess, but faces flushed. Lock in.
For my first 20-ish years growing up, I lived in a very small town on the countryside. It was quiet and nothing ever really happened there. Honestly, a really boring place to live, especially as a kid, because there wasn't much to do. When I was 17 or 18, during summer break, me and my best friend Marcus had a horrible idea. Sort of on a whim, we decided to check out an abandoned place on the outskirts of town. This place everyone in town knew about. I think it was the only truly abandoned structure in the area. But other than the exaggerated, probably made up stories, all me and Marcus really knew about it was that it was an old farmhouse from the very early 1900s that sat on a huge plot of land. I think almost 200 acres. The owners had passed away
I don't even know how big 200 acres is.
decades ago, way before I was born, and the county bought the land but had never done anything with it. They just put up a fence and signs all around it, saying state property, no trespassing. So anytime you went on any of the roads out there, you could see this old, dilapidated farmhouse right in the middle of a field, rotting away in the distance. Bored out of our minds, Marcus and I just wanted to explore the place. Although it was a dumb idea, we weren't looking for trouble or trying to mess with the place.
What do you mean?
We both got flashlights and took Marcus's car to the edge of town, parking off the road and walking about a mile to where the farm was. We knew cops patrolled the area sometimes, so instead of walking up to it through the wide open grassy field, we followed the fence all the way around to the back, where it was backed up to a wooded area. That way, we'd only be walking out in the open for a couple of minutes. It was actually crazy at first to see the place so close up, after having only seen it from far away for all my life. All the wood was weathered down to almost this black color, with no paint left on it, and had vines and weeds growing up the walls. But surprisingly, it looked relatively stable. It didn't look like the roof or any parts of the walls were caving in. We hurried up to the side of the farmhouse and found an open window to get in through. We didn't even try testing the front door, assuming it was locked, and still trying to lay low. I was the first one in, and helped Marcus through. Then we both stood still for a second by the window, moving our flashlights around and listening. You could see all the dust in the air moving around in the beams of our flashlights. And
so these 18-year-old dudes just decided to go exploring a abandoned building that is owned by the county. So, okay. Therefore, there shouldn't be any, like, squatters in this house because they're making it sound like police are always searching this place, which I highly doubt. But they're making it sound like police will get you if you come nearby. So they're trying to lay low. So I don't really think anyone else would live there. But, you know, you never know.
it was silent inside. After a couple seconds, we started walking around. The floors felt sturdy, but still bowed and creaked with pretty much every step. Me and Marcus kept looking at each other as we walked around. I think we both had a deep, unsettling feeling about the place, now that we were inside of it. But neither of us said anything for the first couple of minutes, until Marcus suddenly whispered my name. "Sam, come look at this." "What is that?" He pointed up at the ceiling. Between the floorboards above us, there was this very dim orange light, just barely glowing through the cracks in the wood. It didn't even really give off any light, and you could only see it standing directly under it. Both of us were weirded out, but also curious. How the hell could there be a light in here after all these years?
Someone's in there.
We should have known to just leave right there. But we slowly walked upstairs. Upstairs, there was only a hallway with a bunch of doors that I assume led to bedrooms.
Probably a ritual.
They were all closed.
Ritual going on.
However, under one of them, we could see a brighter orange glow
Ritual.
flickering in the
Candles.
crack under the door.
Candles.
Obviously, this was just another sign to leave, and we were stupid not to. However, what kept us there was that it was dead silent. Really dead silent.
Candles.
The entire time that we'd been inside, there was not a single sound that didn't come from either of us. And in a place like this, we should have been able to hear if we weren't alone. I even walked up to the door and put my ear up to it, and didn't hear anything.
It's a dead body.
So I turned the
Candles.
handle and pushed the door open slowly.
Candles and
The heavy creaking sound it made filled the entire house.
dead person or something.
And my eyes instantly widened. It felt like I couldn't breathe. I was so horrified. There was a group on their knees, huddled in a circle, I think 3 men, and a few candles lit up around the room. Even then, I could hardly see much, just the shape of them all huddled in the middle of the room,
GG.
and they were motionless.
Yeah, just
Even
leave.
after the door squeaking open,
They
and
did.
Marcus and I having been walking around for the last 5 minutes,
Yeah, they
they
did.
didn't move or even look toward us.
They did.
It was like they were stuck, or asleep or something. I only looked at them for maybe 3 seconds before Marcus pulled me away and we both hurried down the stairs. We were running, but still also trying to be quiet for some reason. I remember feeling like every sound we made was amplified because of the adrenaline I was in. We got up to the window and Marcus quickly climbed out, and just as I started to, I heard multiple heavy thumps of footsteps running out of the room and down the stairs.
GG.
I basically dove out of the window, then we made a dead sprint for the woods. We got a little ways in, just enough to start slowing down and catching our breaths, when we both heard a loud thud from back at the farmhouse. Both of us thought it was probably the open window getting slammed shut behind us,
Nah.
but we can't say for sure.
They're chasing you. Keep running.
The walk back was awful. We both had headaches from the intensity of what just happened, and couldn't even begin to piece together what it was we actually saw. Marcus
Rachel.
dropped me off at home, and strangely, after a few days, we never really talked about it. Think we wanted to forget it even happened, to be honest. When I finished high school, I moved away for college, and several years later, when I passed by the old farm, the house was gone. I hope I did well enough at describing everything, as it was
I mean, hey, it's been several years, right? You don't know what happened after 7 years? Probably got demolished. I mean, it did get demolished. It's gone now. Yeah, I mean, you walked into a ritual, right? I don't know. They made it sound like the police always, like, scan it. Like, there's always police patrolling the area. Don't know, man. What can you do about that? Shouldn't have gone in. It is what it is, right? Yet, really, just what can you do in that situation? Probably prevention. Don't go in there. I mean, they did pretty much everything right, you know. See danger, leave. Or you could have like fought the guys, I guess, if you really wanted. I don't know. Probably should have got a camera and recorded it. Get some footage. Cameraman can't die. Now you'll be killed. GG. Next story, shall we? Let's go.
genuinely
Story 3 by Anonymous. Let's go. Lock in. By the way, I'm thinking of just playing a game of StarCraft and putting it on Earthlog instead. We might do that. Even though it's not gonna be 24 frames, I'm thinking we might do that, honestly. What time is it now? It's like 1. Probably should do some Arc.
This happened while I was traveling through the West Coast, with the sole purpose of going on a ton of backpacking trips. I'd taken a whole month, and lined up a bunch of trails to go on. All of them were regular hiking and camping trails, except for one. A buddy of mine who was also adventurous and really into camping had told me about an abandoned mining town that sounded really interesting. Now, there's tons of these old mining towns all over the West, from the sporadic gold rushes, so I'd been to dozens by this point in my life. But this one was different. It wasn't in the desert or on the side of a sandy, rocky hill. This town was in the mountains, buried in a forest, which is actually really rare to find, and makes these ones almost never visited by regular people or tourists.
It sounds like this horror game we used to play. What was it called? Isn't it? I'm pretty sure there's like a creepypasta story where it's like during the gold rush in like a western area, they were like miners or something, and then like some kind of Wendigo creature started eating humans, and the whole entire place got killed. And like these mythical creatures called Wendigos came from humans that ate cannibalism humans and something like that. I don't know. It sounds like that though. Sounds like that. The Wendigo story or whatever you call it.
So, if you're looking for undisturbed, raw, abandoned structures, these are the jackpot. It sounded really cool and interesting, and it was only a few miles off one of the trails I was backpacking along, so it was worth the hike up to check out. And
I mean, keep in mind this person's already been to multiple abandoned places, so he's pretty much like an expert at this point. He already admitted that he's been backpacking a long time. That's what he does. So this guy isn't like the first two. The first two went in there without much knowledge. You know, first one just wandered into an abandoned place, right? For fun. Second person, also for fun. But this person, he does it for a living. This guy's doing it for a living. So this guy's obviously more experienced.
when I was done, I could just hike back down to my campsite on the trail. I got there around midday. It was cloudy, which definitely gave the abandoned town a more unsettling appearance, but it was one of the coolest things that I'd seen in a while. Because of all the time the forest had to regrow around the mining town, all of the small cabin homes were almost part of the forest now. It had clearly been there abandoned, left behind and untouched for over a century. You could even tell that no one had really been there to visit it, or
There's gonna be some like ritual group in there or something, or some like homeless people. Someone's gonna be living in there. Free real estate, right?
explore it. There were no footpaths or trails going between the homes, and everything was quiet and still. I walked past the first few houses and over to one that was mostly intact. It even had some old furniture in it, a wooden rocking chair and some wooden shelves. I walked around out there for another half hour, and as I did, I had this really creepy feeling looming over me. The kind to get me to swivel around and keep checking behind me, like someone could be lurking around and watching me.
Probably.
But it was easy to tell myself that it was just the creepy nature of being alone in a forgotten mining town.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, some person can do the exact same thing you are and do the same thing. So
It was far more unsettling when it was deep in the forest, rather than on an open desert hill like almost every other one was. When I eventually got to the end of the town, there was an opening in the trees, and right in the side of the mountain was an opening to the mine. It was kind of insane how instantly dark it got in there. From standing outside, I could see maybe 5 feet down the tunnel before it was blackout dark. Before entering, I stood at the opening for a minute. There was this sound coming from inside the mine. This low, constant, almost deep rumbling sound, like something echoing through the entire tunnel system. It was incredibly unsettling, like I could feel it resonating inside me the closer I got to the entrance. It gave me a feeling of dread that actually really freaked me out.
let's go inside.
My eyes also felt strange the longer I looked into the absolute darkness. It was like they were trying to focus on something, but it was so dark, I think they started making up shapes in the blackness.
True.
I only took a couple steps in before my whole body stiffened up and wouldn't let me go any further, so I quickly turned back and left the tunnel.
Smart.
I hurried back through the abandoned town, constantly looking over my shoulder at the entrance to the mine, with that feeling that I was being watched growing stronger. I didn't bother looking around anymore, making my way back to the trail where I had set my camp up at. There was only a couple hours of daylight, so I made food and
He got spotted. He got scouted out. GG. Got scouted out by some group. They're gonna come get him because he's camping nearby as well. Yeah, he's cooked. He's gone. He's a goner.
prepped everything for tomorrow's hike.
Bro's a
Then
goner.
got some sticks for a campfire and lit it up.
Bro's a goner.
I didn't really try to rationalize the sound or the feeling that I had over there, and more so tried to just bury it and forget about it, knowing it would be dangerous to let the paranoia set in right before the sun went down.
True.
I sat by the fire, poking the flames with a stick, and listened to the calm forest around me. I'd guess about 2 hours went by, and the forest became far from calming. I started hearing animal sounds, which on a normal day I wouldn't think twice about, but that night something seemed off about it. Specifically, there was this one elk somewhere close by that would bellow every few minutes, echoing through the whole forest. It didn't sound like it was moving. It was always from the same spot behind me,
It's a whistle.
somewhere in the general direction of the mining town.
It's a whistle.
It gave me a chill every time it sounded off. But then, after a while, it just stopped for maybe 15 to 20 minutes. The silence got me back to being in my head, thinking and reflecting. But all it took was a sudden sharp snapping sound to get me out of it. I shot my eyes toward the noise. Somehow, my instant first thought was that someone followed me back to my camp. I don't know why, because I never saw anyone or had any reason to believe that.
You had a feeling, though.
But it was like I knew it in my gut. Something was wrong.
Yep.
I stood up and tried to look as intently as I could into the dark. But after a few seconds, I said fuck it and started to pack my things. For the whole 5-ish minutes that I was packing, nothing happened. No more noises and no sightings. I trusted my gut though, and out there in the backcountry alone, you really can't afford to ignore those feelings. I strapped everything up, put on my headlamp, and kicked dirt over the fire to smother it. The moment the flames went out, I heard a set of footsteps sprinting toward me from right
GG.
where I'd heard the snap sound. My headlamp didn't reach nearly far enough to see anything, so after a second, I just turned around and started running down the trail.
That's crazy.
I ran for a while, but I never heard whoever it was follow me onto the trail. Seemed like they stayed back after I ran off. I honestly couldn't believe my gut had been right the entire time. Someone was out there following me and watching me that whole time.
Yep.
The trail down wasn't too bad, but on no sleep, it was harder than it should have been. I got back to my car by early morning and got out of that forest. I told my friend, the one who had mentioned the place, about what happened. He sort of thought I was crazy, although he said he never actually went up to the tunnel that led to the mines, nor did he camp near it afterward. But he also said that the elk I heard might have been calling out because it saw someone in the forest, and was using it as a territorial call, which, come to think of it, probably should have been my sign something was wrong and to leave. Whatever the case, that mining town is probably best left alone and forgotten.
Now come back with the boys with guns and 100 lumen flashlight and get back in there. Get him. You know what I mean? Right, ladies and gentlemen, that was 20 minutes of that. I'm thinking we do like one game of Stark. I don't know. I actually don't know. Don't really feel like playing the games. I'll see about it. I'll see. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, thank you everyone. Right, see you guys next time, right? Bye-bye.